It's a best of 3, and we got the cameras right now, and it's going the distance, guys. It's the International 3 East Qualifiers. Welcome back to the studio, to the casting desk. I'm LD, joined by Merlini, and we just got done seeing some of the best Wisp play ever, at least for me. And I've seen a lot of great Wisp players. Funnick is fantastic. I mean, a lot of those European teams have great Wisp players, but I was blown away by Miracle.
Yeah, I mean, wow. 4 staff, unusual item choice, but I just saw some incredible plays, and I will not forget those. I mean, Eastern Dota is not known for Wisp, but Miracle might just bring it back. We saw it banned the first game, and I was just like, hey, are they really going to pick it? But I fully expect a second phase Wisp ban from Rattlesnake this game.
Yeah, they banned it in Game 1. They won Game 1. Let's see if they ban it in Game 2, or Game 3, rather. I'd be surprised if they didn't, especially after that performance.
I mean, giving Wisp CK as 4th and 5th picks, that is just unheard of in Western Dota. If you do that, you're just straight up going to lose.
A lot of the captains will just be like, why would you do that in a draft? But in Asian Dota, it's often teams will ban the Wisp in the second stage if they feel like they're vulnerable to it.
I mean, we saw them get dominated in the first 15 minutes of the game, and I totally predicted Rattlesnake was going to win just based off the first 15 minutes, but that just shows you how quickly games can change. And, I mean, they did kind of dive a little bit, and the item choice was a little bit wonky, but there wasn't anything like absurdly, just like, fountain dives or like rapier throws. It wasn't completely absurd the way they lost the game.
Yeah, Lumi used the word throw, and
I wouldn't.
I mean,
that's a big.
I feel like they could have won. So I agree in the sense that if they played it correctly and safely, they could have won. But I mean, I think it was just a slight overextension that First Departure was able to snowball to a victory, not like a massive, like you said, dive the throw and feed a rapier or something incredibly over the top. We actually had a chance to talk to Blitz, who decided to wake up, had a lovely beauty sleep, looking pretty relaxed after his nap, and he said they just lack damage. And I kind of agree with the double BKB rush on Kunkka, Queen of Pain. You're already dominating. You have the map control. Get an Orchid on the Queen of Pain. Get a Scythe of Ice on her, or get some damage on your Kunkka right away. Nobody going for damage. Sure, they were tanky early on, but they lost a fight or two. They just couldn't deal with First Departure later on. There's a Pipe, a Shivas, a Mech, an Assault Cuirass, a Wisp who can relocate you back if you need help. There was like an army of medical technicians standing by to keep that team alive.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they actually could have farmed too. Usually you can't split push and farm versus a Wisp CK, but if you have BKBs, you just BKB TP out. They have no way to stop it. And I feel like they could have abused that fact and get a couple of big items up. No Daedalus really hurt them. No Scythe device for a majority of the game hurt them. And no physical damage on the Gyrocopter hurt him. He had HOD, which is, 10 damage, and a Talisman Evasion. Again, no physical damage.
I think it's actually 20.
I mean, times 6 to every hero.
Well,
but
I'm nitpicking.
Yeah, I mean, they really like the physical damage, and against like a 4,000 HP Armlet, Heart, CK with BKB and Overcharge and possibly an Aegis too, I mean, you really need damage.
All right, so Ben, here's my question for you. We saw First Departure can win with a pocket strategy, a late CK Wisp pick. Can they win with something more standard? I don't think they're going to get CK Wisp this game. Do they need another unusual strategy, or do you think that if they play well, they can take it head on?
I think they just need to draft well and play well. I think the first game, they didn't necessarily play that badly. I thought their draft was just a little bit too poor and just a little bit weak in the lanes. I think if they have an even draft and they play as well as they did last game, I think they can definitely take home Game 3.
They certainly have the individual skill. The only thing that I'm concerned about is just the team decision-making. I felt like that game, we kept on talking about it, spectacular plays, individual plays by Miracle, some good individual plays by his teammate, but you look at the Darkseer, kept on getting picked off. I mean, that's something that just can't happen, and I feel like if Rattlesnake had maybe itemized a bit differently, that could have been punished and cost easily First Departure any chance of a comeback.
Yeah, we saw nice rotations too. We saw Shadow Demon and Wisp. Wisp, very unconventional roaming hero, but they made really good use of that. So in the first game, they didn't really rotate at all. They just babysat the Naga, try to pull, try to get XP. But if we see a lot of rotation around, especially from better roamers, like maybe SD Lesh, SD Lina, SD Chen, or Enchantress, any of those combos, I think they could just throw Rattlesnake off their game, and I think they definitely did, especially with, they're like, wow, where did this Wisp come from? Just saving everybody, not dying, and I think they have a good shot at taking Game 3. I just completely stunned by their performance.
I'm going to be honest. I called a 2-0 stomp. I'm delighted to be wrong. This is such a good way to start the day. We have more action coming up after this, but it's time to jump into game number 3, First Departure versus Rattlesnake. Who's going to be the first team knocked down to the lower bracket? Who's going to be the first team to move into the winner bracket finals? Let's find out now. Game 3, draft about to begin. We'll hop into the lobby. We're waiting for that last pair of lobby to load. That's probably a bit premature, but I'm just excited, Merlini. I'm excited to be in the game.
Don't lose your voice. You have a whole week of this. Luckily, you have a break in between, though. So
That's what Purge is here for. Purge and Blitz are going to bail me out. They'll be casting the next series. Really looking forward to that and kind of sitting back and drinking something. Non-alcoholic, of course. We don't drink here at the Beyond the Summit studio.
Never.
I think you're muted, Lumi. I don't think Asians drink vodka.
Sometimes.
Oh, you're Asian. You would know. We have a lot of Asians at the house, by the way. But with that being said, Game 3 now underway. We're going to hop on into it again. It's 1-1, as you would expect, with the Game 3. Winner of this moves on to the winner bracket finals, which will be played as our third and final match of the evening. Merlini, draft about to begin. Are we going to see a Wisp picked up early? Are we going to see it get banned? That's sort of the question right now.
I think it's going to be pretty standard. Bat, I fully expect to be banned. We actually see a disconnect on the side of Rattlesnake. I don't know if that's going to affect anything, but it seems like they actually managed to deal with Clockwork pretty well last game, and we usually see Kabu's Clockwork. I mean, he did get a couple picks on a Darkseer, but after that, he just got destroyed inside the Cogs.
I mean, there was that one fight where the Cogs, hurt Rattlesnake, because two heroes get vacuumed into the Cogs, trapped in with a CK. A lone druid, it's just it's like a horrible, I felt like I was watching Gladiators or something, except it's like one gladiator thrown into a pit of 20 lions or giant horses with axes in this case. And, well, we saw how that turned out. So there's a Bat Rider available, a Nyx Assassin, a lone druid, a Wisp. I feel like we might not see the Wisp in the first phase, but if it's there in the second, we definitely will.
Yeah, and Clockwork's actually been banned out for first departure. So tired of Kabu's Clockwork. We saw him pick him up Game 1 and Game 2, and looks like Magnus and Bat Rider for Rattlesnake, and Lifestealer and Clockwork the ban of choice. And first departure will go for the first pick, Lone Druid. Very strong pick. I mean, he did die a couple times. Again, he was 1-6 at one point, but he still contributed massively.
And he still farmed, too.
Yeah. I mean,
he farmed a lot.
He farmed a lot, and I mean, he did get some clutch fruits. He got that first hit root on Kunkka that really started. That was like around the turning point when Rattlesnake started to just decline on those graphs. So, I mean, Lone Druid, I think Paulon Sang, as you like to say, had a pretty good Lone Druid last game, even though he did die.
I got slapped on the wrist. Apparently, it's Paulson.
Well, we don't know. He could be French.
I think I got it wrong again, but it's not Paulson. But I took French, so I like to show it off. And we wait for those two picks from Rattlesnake. You got to figure right now they're constructing their overall strategy for the draft. It's Game 3. They'll start with the Shadow Demon. I think a straight-on aggressive triple lane is what the Doctor ordered, because first departure, sure, they were able to sort of make trades, but you won't make trades against Shadow Demon Leshrac. You either die in the lane or you pick a strong enough tri-lane to withstand the onslaught. It's coming from Rattlesnake. I will be shocked if it's not an aggressive tri-lane.
Yeah, I think Leshrac's one of those heroes that, I mean, if you ditch your lane, you're going to lose your tower. Diabolic Edict just crushes it. And Rattlesnake Gaming, both games, first game and second game, they just had a really big early game advantage. I think Leshrac will continue to help them snowball into that early game, and hopefully they can continue that lead if they want to take this Game 3 home for China.
For China, indeed.
For China.
Of course, good news is if they don't, there's 3 other Chinese representatives, so they'll probably have at least 1 or 2 of them moving on over the next couple of days. But with that being said, first departure, now it's time for them to look at their second 2 picks, or their second and third picks for the second stage of the first stage of the draft. Man, that was a total fail. I'm just going to have a moment of silence. All right, picking myself back up off of the floor, peeling myself off, and we'll try and go again. Lone Druid, the first pick. We saw it solo mid last game. I wonder what they're going to do with it. I wonder if it's going to be given farm priority, because I feel like with Rattlesnake looking at this aggressive tri-lane, it looks like an aggressive tri-lane to me. This might be an opportunity where you get a 1v1 for your Lone Druid, and maybe you don't need to give him any kind of support.
I mean, Lone Druid is just one of the... He recovers quite nicely. He can get sacked. He can do jungle. I mean, Lone Druid is just a flexible hero. Very smart first pick. And Nyx Assassin. I think Nyx Assassin is, decent versus Shadow Demon Leshrac. Again, you're mostly going to find those two paired. If you go on Leshrac, he'll get disrupted. And if you go on Shadow Demon, you'll most likely get killed in the process. But Nyx Assassin, very strong pick. And I think first departure really needs that hero to try and establish some sort of map control. We see them fall behind in, sort of the 10 to 20 minute phase of the game. Is where they seem pretty weak. They seem to get pretty good foothold past the 20-minute mark with their nice synergy, teamwork, map movement, smoke ganks. But I think Nyx Assassin will really be that hero. And we haven't really seen them get really good levels under supports, but I think our early level 6 will help them a lot. So Juggernaut, third pick by First Departure, and Alchemist, third pick by Rattlesnake
Juggernaut
Gaming.
The choice. Lone Druid, obviously healing ward plus bear equals dead towers. This is a really strong pushing combo. They could run an aggressive tri-lane, but then they went back for the Nyx, which isn't the best aggressive tri-lane hero, to be honest. And then you look at Rattlesnake. Alchemist, God's mentioned it in the pregame, often run as a solo mid, but if they want to run him in a tri-lane with Shadow Demon, Soul Catcher, Acid Spray, Unstable Concoction, He's throwing a Split Earth. That is the easiest kill ever. Anyone who gets caught, unless it's Juggernaut and he Blade Furies out, is gonna drop.
Yeah,
so.
looking at Versus Departures here, they actually have pretty good heroes to deal with this sort of aggression. I mean, sure, if you get caught really early game, you're most likely going to die, but Lone Druid, one of the tankiest heroes in the game once he gets his true form.
Right.
Nyx Assassin has Spike Carapace, so they'll immediately negate either Unstable Concoction or Leshrac Split Earth as their disruption, and Juggernaut can just Blade Fury and TP out of it, so I think they're actually pretty well equipped to deal with this, and Juggernaut can also go for the split push or for the push lineup, and we see Alchemist be able to spam people out a little bit with Acid Spray or Lightning Spam from Shadow Demon or from Leshrac and the Poison from Shadow Demon, but Juggernaut just deals with that sort of spam incredibly well. Keep It Alight and Wisp banned out by Rattlesnake Gaming, and looks like 3 hard carries banned out for First Departure. They have Gyrocopter and Anti-Mage and Dragonite. Those are kind of miracle heroes, I want to say.
The tables have turned, have they not? These were the heroes Rattlesnake was banning in Game 1, taking away all of the miracle heroes, like you said, and I mean, maybe it's a game where
everyone bans miracle heroes. There's Wisp too.
Right, even First Departure. They're like, we don't like you. Miracle doesn't like himself. Apparently, he's self-loathing because he's banned his own favorites. But we'll see what he plays this game. I feel it's more likely to be a Miracle Lone Druid and maybe not seeing him on support this game. Sure, he played a great Wisp, but a lot of teams have that one player who they're the Wisp player, but that's all they play. And otherwise, they'll play a carry role or an off lane in the case of Funnick or whatever it might be. I like the Wisp ban. I think it's just necessary after how that game 2 went. Why give it away again? Not worth the risk. Can be a game-breaking hero. Certainly was that game. So now we enter the second stage of the draft after this last ban, and I look at First Departure. I see a lineup that I don't feel is the strongest first few levels against this tri-lane, but like you said, if they get, say, to level 3 or 4, you have Spike Carapace, Mono Burn, a couple levels in Impale, Juggernaut getting his healing ward, Lone Druid hits 6 fairly soon. Then they're pretty scary in a 5-man group up and push.
Yeah, they could just push it very easily. Coddle's banned out. They really don't have good AoE to deal with it. They usually need like Shockwave or Illuminate to try and just spam out the way, but with that Lone Druid in the front line with a healing ward, I don't know. I think they could take out Snowball very, very early if given a good start. With Rattlesnake's lineup, I'm not actually sure what lanes are going to do. Alchemist, Leshrac, Shadow Demon, most likely a triple lane in Western Dota, but in Eastern, they could have Alchemist solo mid, and we've seen that before, and we went over that in the player profiles.
Visage. Well, this normally screams aggressive tri-lane, or at least preparing to fight tri-lane versus tri-lane. And I like the pick. I think they needed someone who can do well in the laning stage, someone who can kind of control the lane early. And this is a hero who offers a lot of damage output. Rattlesnake will go back for the Nature's Prophet, so they get some split push of their own. They also, if they want to run the aggressive tri-lane, they make it a lot stronger with this pick. We could see a solo Prophet, maybe even a 2-position Prophet who gets a lot of farm priority, a tri-lane with the Alk, and then they would just need their other solo. I think if they want to go that route, something like a Puck would be great here because they're a bit lacking in terms of team fight.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Quad picked up very, very early in first phase, both of these games, but neither team opting to pick him. I think it worked out decently in the second game. I don't know why they try and shun away from that. I think he's just an incredible hero, able to take out a lot of these weak heroes. I think it'd be better for First Departure right now. But again, we have seen Juggernaut solo mid, and we could see Nyx solo mid. We saw Lone Druid solo mid. So again, these lanes are pretty unpredictable, and I like the flexibility and adapt, like the ability to adapt for both of these teams. And
it's what First Departure didn't have in Game 1.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the difference. And they'll go for Rubik as their final pick. So they get a hero to disengage from the tri-lane, and now it means someone's going mid. Is it a solo mid Nyx? That's
could be Rubik too.
Yeah, it could be a Rubik. We haven't seen it in a long time, but I feel like they want the Nyx to go solo mid because he's their best tempo controller. He's the one who can set up ganks. He's the one who can put the Fear of God in the enemy supports. Rubik can't necessarily do that. So I'd lean towards a Nyx solo mid, and it also makes the tri-lane, I feel, a bit stronger with 2 ranged heroes. But like you said, they still have options, one way or the other.
Yeah, I think that Mana Burn will do a lot of work on a hero like Leshrac if they choose a safe lane. I think in the off lane, maybe not Nyx is the best choice, but they're flexible. They could do aggressive triple lane, safe lane, triple lane with safe lane farmer. I mean, they could just really do anything at this point. Rubik solo mid, Juggernaut solo mid. I've seen Visage solo mid at some points. So again, we'll see the lineups. This game is actually underway right now.
Merlini, it's Game 3 of Rattlesnake versus Armageddon First Departure. It honestly feels like 2 series. It's been so topsy-turvy, but now all tied up 1-1. Winner of this moves on to your winner bracket finals, which will come up in just about 3 to 4 hours, probably closer to 4 from this one. On the side of Rattlesnake, we've got Lamb playing the Darkseer. Towards the middle lane, it's Lua. Man, I just can't get his name right either. Playing the Alchemist. I do apologize for all those who I'm offending. Sagam, going to be handling the Shadow Demon. Kabu, going to be on the Leshrac. And last but not least, it will be a safe lane Nature's Prophet. So looked like an aggressive tri-lane, smelled like an aggressive tri-lane Merlini, and in fact is an aggressive tri-lane, although with the Darks here, not with the Alchemist.
I feel like they might get crushed, especially if it is Visage. But regardless, on the side of First Departure, we see Scripted on the Juggernaut. We see Hana on the Lone Druid. We actually saw Polo on it last game. He's on the Nexus Assassin this game. Lubby on the support Rubik. And Scripted on the Juggernaut. Or I already said Scripted on Juggernaut. Miracle as a Visage.
Yeah, playing that Visage is playing support again, has decided, well, me playing that split pushing carry doesn't work. I'm going to do what's best for the team, even if it means playing support. I'm going to be on the Visage. And, well, Merlini, you thought that...
I think it's a Nyx solo mid, though. I think you're right on that one.
Well, you thought that First Departure would have the edge on this tri-lane, so... walk me through why that's the case.
I mean, they have a lot of damage output, but if you go on somebody, that Soul Assumption is just going to destroy you. You might get one kill, but they're going to walk away with 2 or 3 most of the time, especially with that Rubik pulling people back. And again, you might be able to kill Lone Druid, but Visage just dominates safely in triple lanes, especially with an aggressive lineup like Rattlesnake. They really want to get a lot of damage going, and Soul Assumption is one of the most underrated level 1 spells, but it actually looks like they're going to dodge the try-on-try. Or actually, I don't know if they did do it.
Well, they have a lane ward. They see the tri-lane here, and they're heading top. So yeah, like you said, they're going to dodge it. And well, this is now tough for the Lone Druid. He's going to lose his creep wave quickly. The bear can tank the wave for a little bit, but it can't deal with constant Ion Shell spam and supports nuking it down this early. So eventually, the bear's going to die. He won't have a resummon. He can't tank the creeps forever, and that's where the tower dive can come. So I'm a bit worried right now for Hana. And then the question is, well, what do they get in return? Lubby and Miracle lurking. It seems like they even want to go mid. They're going to smoke at level 1. You don't see this very often because if it doesn't work out, you really fall behind. But looks like they're going to go for Luo.
Yep, and he does have Impale leveled up already. Mana Burn.
Oh, he's going to run away right now, but the lift could be there. Can they get in range? They've got the stun. They need to lift him, I feel, onto the high ground. Perhaps they'll pull him right back into the middle of all 3. That could work in a pinch, too. Alchemist doesn't have the best armor. Soul Assumption is there. Jams it home. Miracle picks up the first blood. Well, an unorthodox level 1 smoke gank, but the aggression of the solo mid Alchemist, Luo, gets punished.
Yep, and looks like Hana is playing very, very safe and very
and
smart play by him. Oh,
this time from Rattlesnake. Sagam's going to lead the way. He's going to walk right into Lubby, but this is where Soul Assumption could be King Miracle. He's got mana for 1, and Rattlesnake, man's down. They back off, they blow their smoke, and they don't accomplish anything with it.
Yeah, so it looks like First Departure is off to a pretty good start. I rarely see this solo offlane Juggernaut versus a Nature's Prophet, but I expect him to have actually a pretty easy time. He can always just spin if he tries to play aggressively with the treants. And we see this ward being dewarded, so that looks like a lot of trouble for First Departure. Being able to spot those 2 supports roaming and where they go is very, very important for this. And it looks like Miracle and the other support, Lubby, will have to play very, very carefully now.
Lamb's going to rotate towards mid. It feels like Rattlesnake is, I don't want to quite say desperate, but really there's this sense of urgency to abandon the tri-lane, send 3 heroes mid after dewarding. They are just really in a rush to get something accomplished. They'll head towards mid. It seems Peloson is not prepared for it, and now going to get caught out, disrupted to start. Alchemist stunned to follow this. Don't look good for Peloson. Caught out, now brought down, and will be picked off. Almost gets Sagam, but not quite. Able to live. But that was 4 heroes mid to get a single kill. Lubby pulls Kabu back in. In comes Luo looking for another kill. He's got the Iron Shell. He's charging the stun. But Miracle's here. This could backfire a little bit. I feel the stun. Is he going to get it off?
Oh.
He doesn't. He self-stuns. Dies under the tower.
Whoa.
Talk about just...
Ring around the rosy on those trees.
Yeah, great juke, but Rattlesnake, why are they so desperate?
I have no idea. And giving this Barret easy level 5 is not what you want to do with the aggressive triple lane. Once he gets level 5, he can pretty much zone any of these heroes out, including the Darkseer. And, I mean, he's just having his way. He played very smartly with that ward and just played very safely. And I think being able to dodge this very early aggression from the Shadow Demon Leshrac is playing well into First Departure's favor.
Now, to be fair to Luo, if he got the stun off and didn't stun himself, he might have gotten a kill and lived. So... I mean, potentially could have gotten out, but it looked like it was going to be close. Might have just died anyway in spite of getting the kill. So, in the end, we have a couple of kills back and forth. Score now 2-1, favoring First Departure. They lead by about 750 gold and 750 experience. Still close and early, but you look towards the mid game, and both teams have their strengths, but I feel like First Departure have the somewhat easier to execute lineup where you can just siege with the Lone Druid Bear.
You smoke,
plop the healing
two
ward.
supports on top lane.
Yeah, they're going to go right behind this Juggernaut, and this could be an easy kill. Icy might be next in line. First Departure seem to be controlling the tempo in this game. Lubby's looking to get in range. There's your Grave Chill. Now he tries to TP out, but Lubby's going to say, hell no. Drops him down, brings him down. Miracle snags a killing spree, and all of a sudden, They're up to a 3-1 lead, leading the gold chart by 1,000 gold and 1,500 experience. And now, Hana's almost level 6. And now if you want to tower dive him and he's 6, or even just 5 and has root, Merlini, this might backfire.
Yeah, they have aggressive war down there. And I mean, it just seems like they're really, really desperate for kills right now. Their supports are so poor. Shadow Demon still level 1, nowhere close to Boots. Kabu, 330 gold, only level 2.
That says it all. Level 1 at 4.5 minutes in. You get level 2 from basically...
Oh, Furion TP's in.
He TP's in. They really want to dive. They've devoted 4 heroes to this, but Sagam dropping low, zapped, and killed off. They get the counter kill, and now it's up to Combo to make something more, but he gets rooted. He'll drop. Lamb as well. Is there going to be another root? This could be the trifecta, but in the end, he will get away. Remember, Icy even abandoned top lane while that was happening. It looks like when all is said and done, I mean, they're pushing top lane. They're defending bottom. Middle lane, Polosson's almost level 6. And what are they going to do against this Nyx? They can't buy wards because they have no gold. They're level 1 and 2 on their supports. It's going to be an absolute feeding frenzy for this Nyx.
And the Juggernaut's almost level 6 too, so keeping in mind that ICTB down bottom lane, and Juggernaut has been getting free farm too, as well as Polonson. I mean, he did die once, but he's almost level. He is level 6, well on his way to Arcane Boost, and Luo is not doing too well in terms of farm, and he's forced to go this aggressive Acid Spray and Unstable Concoction build.
I mean, it's sort of the build that the Asian solo mid alchemists prefer. They like to max the acid spray. Actually, normally you see the unstable concoction max first, just because they play it as kind of a tempo controller and a ganker. And, I mean, the combo does insane damage if you get it off. So I think it's pretty much your standard build mid. I don't feel like he's necessarily forced into it. At least that's the way that the Chinese teams have been playing it when they run it mid. But, I mean, you're right in that they don't really have a great farming option. So losing the lanes early, they got to find kills soon because they aren't necessarily going to out-farm First Departure, even with an Alchemist, with this kind of a skill build.
Yeah, I feel like like the Western scene handles this role. If you want to go aggressive with AoE and like a disable, you can go Storm, for example, and they just have much better escape potential. You can just dodge the Rubik ganks or the Visage ganks very easily with Blink on Queen of Pain or ult from Storm Spear or just Jaunt and Face Shift from Puck. And I think Alchemist is proving to be a little bit of a liability at this early stage, 1 and 2 already, and not really getting good in terms of farm. But he does have that late game potential, and that minus armor is very good for Roshan, and that stun actually gets quite ridiculous once leveled up.
It also feels like First Departure is really starting to read Rattlesnake. Like, they smoke top, they know that Rattlesnake like to post up in their lanes and play aggressively, and they bait it out and punish it. From the level 1 smoke to the secondary smoke top, it just seems like they're really anticipating not just the movements, but the individual decision-making of these Rattlesnake players, and that's what you got to do against these teams. You have to win the more of the mind games, and right now, dare I say it, the Southeast Asian team First Departure, who most people, myself included, were not expecting to put up much of a fight after some really poor performances as of late, are out to a hot start. So Merlini, it started hot for them. What's the next step for First Departure?
I mean, they just need to get farm up on their heroes. They're not really under pressure right now, but they can choose to play very aggressively with this Juggernaut being level 6 and Nyx Assassin being level 6. I mean, just Nyx Assassin with like a level 1 Shadow Demon, that is just, oh my god, he's just going to go crazy on him, being able to instant kill him. And again, I just think they need to keep doing what they're doing, react very well to ganks, and they can even put a lot of pressure with rotation from their solo heroes. We've seen the Rubik and the Visage do most of the work in the first 5 minutes, and now it's time for the solo heroes to carry a little bit of their weight this early into the game. But Nyx Assassin probably will wait to farm mana boots, only 300 away from that first.
I mean, you mentioned getting levels. Well, and being prepared for ganks. They're prepared for ganks. They have 3 TP scrolls up now in all of their core heroes. Or not their core heroes, their support heroes. Visage has one, Lubby has one on the Rubik, and then of course the solo mid Nyx, who isn't a support, but certainly is kind of your tempo controller and your hero that wants to be creating space for the team. Well, they've got the TPs to do it, and now Rattlesnake, they have to be very defensive. They can't go ganking, they can't be on the map, and they have to stick together or they will all fall apart.
Their supports are too poor for wards too, and that is actually a very, very big deal, especially as his first nighttime hits. We see the Rubik in middle pick up DD, and he has Observer Ward, so they're going to have a very good vision and be aware of what Rattlesnake is up to. I don't think they've actually spotted out these 2 supports on top, but again, Juggernaut, he can just spin and TP out. He actually does not have a TP scroll on him though, so he is vulnerable for quite a little bit.
They actually can't kill him. I mean, there's just no way they can kill him. Even with a Split Earth and a Disruption, there's just not much follow-up. I think he just spins out of that regardless. And, well, he's got the stick charges too, so scripted. Offlane Juggernaut can be kind of situationally decent in the offlane, rarely dominant, but he's flexing his muscles up to 2,000 gold. The big thing for me is what are we going to see from this first Nyx Assassin gang? Paulson hasn't gone for it yet. He's forced to farm mid, and That's the one nice thing about the Alchemist mid. If you go for this Acid Spray build instead of getting points early in Grievel's Greed, you can keep the lane constantly pushed in, which means it's very obvious if the Nyx is ganking. So I think that's the one big benefit of having him there.
Yep, and being able to secure runes is pretty nice. Looks like they're trying to go around on scripted, but I think they're just wasting their time up top. They set up a ward behind the tower, but how are you going to kill scripted?
It's the Nyx. I mean, they got money for sentry wards. No boots for these fellas. They're going to buy the sentries, and I feel it's worth it. As desperate as it is, as badly as you want boots, you cannot get caught by this first Nyx gank, and it comes now in the bottom lane. But there's nobody here.
Yep, this will be. Looks like they're going to have 4 heroes up top, and it looks like they're smoking too. I wonder if they're going to scout this out. They actually won't reveal on the mini map, so they'll only spot them if they actually have their map on this right now.
Are they watching? If they are, this could be trouble.
Double ping.
Insta ping.
Wow.
Look at the map awareness of Sag. But he's seen them. That's one thing. Can you do anything? That's quite another.
Yeah, and they are just
and the answer is no. Look at them, just terrified, cowering behind the tower. They are going to get some backup in the form of Lamb, and maybe even Lua. Lua doesn't have a TP. That's their one stun. They kind of need the Alchemist there. I mean, well, you have your Split Earth, but not really that reliable.
Lone Druid just going to take bottom tower and just really not care at all. He has Bear Form. He has 1,300 HP. And it looks like the Rune Luck is actually going to first departure as well. Paul and Son picking up an Illusion Rune on bottom. He has his Arcane boost right now. Does he try to go for it? But we see the Dire Structures being fortified right now, and they're forced to react to this. So again, these supports have sat top for 3 minutes waiting for a smoke gank.
Oh, top lane. Looks like there was a Split Earth unscripted. No follow-up. Go right ahead.
Yeah, they're waiting for a gank to happen and waiting to counter gank, but first departure, they don't feel any pressure. They have a farming Lone Druid. They have a free farming Nyx Assassin too. So the pressure's not really on them at all.
First departure now leads this deciding Game 3, our first match of the International 3 East Qualifiers, by 2,500 gold. That's right, folks. They're heavily in the lead. 3,500 experience or so, and they continue.
That's without any towers down,
and that's without towers, and that's against an Alchemist. Of course, Alchemist hasn't gone for Grievel's Greed yet. Rattlesnake do have that up their sleeve. They always have it to rely on. He'll take a point in it now, and I like this choice. I feel they're in the position where they can't fight. They have to play defensively, especially wait out this first night, get a little bit easier vision up on the map, have the longer vision range, and farm boots and wards, and hopefully some levels, because that's really what they need.
I actually think that Rattlesnake is playing this mid game actually pretty decently, though. They're not splitting up and they're stacking camps, which we see a lot of supports do when they get under level. Scripted trying to pick off a kill on top, but spots out a couple heroes and tries to run away. They do see the Observer Ward, but a lot of times supports in this position will go to stack, split up, and, you know, do their own thing, and they really can't do that versus a Nyx Assassin, versus a Juggernaut. If you do that, you'll just die, and you already can't get more behind than they are. So they're trying to stop this hemorrhaging and just try and get back into this game. And looking at the XP and the gold graph, they're like even right now. First departure is not running away with it, but they certainly have the advantage at this point in the game.
Can they snowball? We haven't seen any effective Nyx Assassin gank since he hit level 6. He'll also now spot out a second time top. He'll rotate mid, but he was pinged, and that did fail. Icy maybe caught out in a bad spot. Looks like he's going to be going down here. He'll sprout. He'll try to TP out, but can't quite do it. He drops quickly. Miracle finishes him off with the Soul Assumption. Call it a dominated streak for him. Now 4-0-1. Meanwhile, Lubby calmly 1-0-5, involved in every single kill. That's when you know your supports are answering the call.
Yeah, I mean, these are just amazing support play. Again, we haven't seen too much out of these solo heroes. Lone Druid just playing safe, Scripted just playing safe, getting his farm, and Nyx has trying to look for opportunities, but Rattlesnake just playing very defensively. But again, fantastic play from these supports. Lubby on the Rubik and Miracle on the Visage in particular. He's almost level 6 right now as a roaming Visage. He's 4-0-1. So again, fantastic play by him, and just putting the pressure on Rattlesnake and trying to force them to react and put this in positions that they don't want to be in early game.
You know, he's also got 1,300 gold, so we could see a very fast mechanism, and you combine that with Healing Ward and Lone Druid Bear.
He is level 6 right now. Wow.
Now you get your familiars. More push coming, more opportunities to scout for the Nyx Assassin. This is a really big level. Getting level 6 on Visage, he'll actually go Arcane Boots, but Mechanism could be next on the agenda, and I feel they're waiting for the next items. They get the Armlet. Maybe they wait for something like a Blink Dagger, and the Nyx Polisson has that now, by the way. He'll Vendetta, and under cover of that, head maybe top. Nope, comes back towards mid. Other TPs available.
Sentry?
There's a Sentry. He's been spotted. Gank number 3 also fails. They have dodged all 3 ganks. This is the perfect map awareness you need to deal with being level 2 when Nyx is 6. Now, they're level 4 when he's level 8, so the gap is closing.
Yeah, but these farmers are just getting, like, Juggernaut just free farming top, Hana just free farming body, almost has phase and armlet completed on his bear.
Top lane Scripted's already used Battle or Blade Fury. He could be in trouble. He gets disrupted. His Split Earth hits. He looks to be dead. He will be dead, and that's a kill that they did not want to give up. There's your level 5 on Leshrac. There's soon to be your level 5 on Shadow Demon. And for first departure, no trade in sight. Blink Dagger picked up on the Nyx, though. I feel this is the item they've been lacking, that long-range initiation.
I mean, they've been playing very, very safely, and I think Rattlesnake just been recovering from this quite well. Usually we just see Nyxes dominate level 1, level 2 supports if he's level 6, but they've just been turtling closer to Sentry Wards, getting Sentry Ward up in mid so that Alchemist can't die, and I mean, I think they've been playing very well. Again, stopping the bleeding is very, very important.
And Lamb has a mech right now. Just purchased it. I think he might need an Ironwood branch, but that's pretty much it. That's a 12.5-minute mech, and as squishy as the supports are, they aren't going to be so squishy when the heal comes in.
Yep, and
this could completely turn the next fight, especially since I don't know if First Departure is going to expect it. Hasn't been seen yet.
Yep, Rubik level 6 as well, so them getting good levels on the supports. Again, supports change the game, especially this early. And the supports have recovered quite well on Rattlesnake, both of them level 5 at this point, healing Ward up in mid.
On the back line, my first missed kill of the qualifier. Polisson just blows one up. 2 hero stun from Luo. Now eats an Omni Slash. It's only level 1. Won't be enough to find the kill. They're going to look for a tier 1 off the back of that kill. So the first unveiling of the Blink Dagger results in an additional kill going their way. And more importantly, the tier 1 mid about to drop. So they take the tower.
Finally, Syllabear.
Yeah, Lone Druid's starting to really show off. He's got the tier 1 bottom earlier. Now he takes the tier 1 mid. It's 2 towers going the way of First Departure, and nothing as far as towers go the way of Rattlesnake. Now they lead by 5,000 gold and 4,000 experience.
Yep, Fearon starting to get his farm on, though. Almost has his minus 1,800 gold. I believe he's saving up for minus, but we have seen some of the Nature's Prophet in this series go for an early mech, and I mean, I doubt that's going to happen with Darkseer already having it, but that's pretty good farm for the Darkseer. We saw a little bit of a rough start for him, but just playing safe in the jungle, avoiding Nyx ganks, and getting his farm on, exactly what they need to do to recover.
So First Departure, they've accomplished their first objective. They get the Blink Dagger, they have level 3 healing ward, and they take a tier 1 mid, a tier 1 bottom. Tier 1 top will be next on the agenda, and I think if you're Rattlesnake, you see these heroes grouped up top, you just trade. You don't have Vacuum Wall highly leveled yet. You're only level 8 there, and it looks like that's what they're going to do. Push in mid, push in bottom. Don't take a direct head-on confrontation because that's just not a fight you can win. They are making, frankly, all the right decisions to get back in this game. That was one of the worst starts I've ever seen from a team. And even though it looks bad with the graphs that I've shown earlier, again, still down by about 6,000 gold, 5,000 experience, this is as good as you can do given that start.
Shadow Demon in big trouble.
Here comes the Vendetta under cover of it. Polisson giving chase Sag, trying to escape, but he gets thrown back by telekinesis, eats a Vendetta strike, and now an Impale to finish the job. So, well, they do continue to give up a pick off here or there on the Shadow Demon. So by no means perfect play, but
they got a tower out of it though, and it didn't get denied.
Yeah, a tier 1,
pretty good.
A tier 1 mid, a tier 1 bottom. So again, I feel it's the best you can do in this situation. You're gonna lose heroes when there's a Blink Dagger Nyx and you're this far behind.
So Rattlesnake, very good team. Very good at coming from behind though. I mean, the kill score is 8-2, but it could be so much worse for them right now.
And the Bear's working on the tower top, and the one concern is, how do they deal with this Bear? We saw Lone Druid's Bear actually be a real nuisance after a bad start. This is with a good start and, oh, by the way, with a healing ward at his side. They've taken the tier 2 top, and what's to stop them from just rotating mid? Again, no wall, minimal levels on your counter-pushing supports. Leshrac doesn't even have a max lightning, only level 2 in his diabolic, or doesn't even have lightning, excuse me. Level 3 in the Split Earth, only level 2 in the Edict, so not that great at stopping pushes. They don't have the items or levels to deal with a direct 5-man group up and fight.
Yep, and
aside from the mech, that's the one thing they have.
Phase drums completed on the Juggernaut, and almost arcane mech completed on this support roaming Visage. So they're in a pretty good position to make the 5-man push that we see Syllabears do so often at this stage in the game. But they have pretty good sentry setup. Notice the sentry ward in mid, outside of T2, the sentry ward still in mid, right in the middle of the river. They're just very well prepared for these Nyx ganks.
It just shows you how annoying and costly it is to play against the Nyx if he has a good start. You have to buy all these sentries. First Departure, Bear inside of the Roshan pit with the familiars here as well. They could look for a very early Rosh. Keep that middle lane pushed in with Scripted. Here comes your Vendetta. Bad Nyx Assassin looking for a kill. Can he find it? That's the question. Lamb's hiding pretty far back. this could be a mistake to dive too far. He's got to find the supports. Lamb, not the one he wants to jump on. Lubby, waiting patiently, hasn't stolen anything. What can he grab? The tower. Under siege, they're actually slow rolling it. I love this. I thought they were going to jump in, not forcing the issue. They'll go in now, but they've taken the tier 2, and there's not quite a trade for Icy, although he will try to push in that tier 2 bottom, but he hits one familiar stun. He dodges the second. Omni Slash has a mini stun. It will be thrown out now, but it hits Creeps. Icy going to TP away. A slight misplay there from Scripted. Not the biggest deal, but Icy doing what it takes to keep this game going.
Yep, and we see an early gem pickup on the Nexus Assassin too. So he's tired of these Sentry Wars, doesn't want to run into them, and just wants to kill these supports. And these supports are just going to be very, very poor. Just Brown Boots Magic Wand on both of them, and I think there's just going to be food.
This is such a crucial item for them. Sure, you're the one who has Vendetta, but you don't want them to have sentries in the lanes. You don't want them to have observer wards, spotting your heroes farming, or spotting you off the map with more total vision or map area covered. Now you're going to have a much better chance of finding kills. Polison's coming in. He's got Vendetta. This should be somebody dying. Maybe. Oh, he's by himself. But he's going to go now. Split Earth has just been used. That's a 2-hero impale. He'll bring down one, and he can blink away to safety. He'll do it straight to the left and then back to the base. So a well-executed gank from him. And the push is going to come bottom. 4 heroes grouped up. Healing ward available. And then your Lone Druid with Armlet. Now a Hyperstone. The bear gets his next item soon, Merlini. How is Rattlesnake going to stop the push?
I mean, they're just going to split push. Looks like Furion's trying to put pressure on this T1, and they were trying to put pressure on the T2 in middle, but they don't really have a choice. They can't fight them 5-on-5 right now. The goal difference is too much, around 8,000 in favor of First Departure right now, and XP is really in favor of them too, 5,000. And with this Roshan, I mean, I expect a little. I don't think they have a big enough item advantage. Maybe with the mech they can push into the T3, but still, it's a very risky play, and I expect them to just farm a little bit, just take complete map control. They still have to be constantly scared of this Nyx assassin, and they can just take out wards with the observer ward. So they can just play the contain game, just farm up a little bit more.
Grab the Aegis. This one gives me a bit of a scare. It takes a while, but he will grab it. And I mean, like you said, I think just slow roll it. Take the towers as much as you can. Don't give up too much. And for Rattlesnake, it's the opposite. It's all about stalling tactics, taking the game late. There is a Nyx assassin illusion currently scouting out. Looks like an observer ward here, and Lubby's gonna send the. He'll come in.
They pick up a gem of their own.
Yeah. So, well, what can they do with it? That's really the question. Sure, Lamb's got this gem, but can they actually use it effectively?
He's been moving around by himself, though, so if he dies once, he's most likely going to die twice with his Aegis, unless he gets a really quick blink out.
Well, Merlini, you've jinxed him. He jumps in mid. Is there going to be a blink impale? Polison's coming in. Lamb's got to run right now. The savvy veteran, maybe not so savvy. He's got a gem. He sees Polison chasing him, and, well, Polison will back off. Not going to go. Probably spotted the gem, and here comes that siege mid. I don't think they'll take the racks, but they can just chip away at the tier 3 once the Lone Druid Bear arrives. Not here yet, but coming top, and oh my goodness,
AC.
This is potentially a 21-minute, if not less, Assault Caress Armlet Bear. Even with Acid Spray.
Eat those towers.
He's going to munch them up and spit them out, and they can't kill the bear. They don't have the physical damage.
Yeah, I mean, they have Acid Spray, but...
Yeah, I mean, sure, you've got Acid Spray. You've got your, what is it, -6
armor,
you
have Healing Ward.
Yeah, there's Healing Ward.
Ward Bear is absurd. Look at it in action right now.
Just slapping away on the tower. That bear is... He might be cute, but he packs a punch. The Panda Bear, of course. Vacuum catches everyone. That's the level 1 wall. Only 15 seconds. So Armageddon First Departure, they simply back off. They'll reset, reload, and now Rattlesnake, they have to fight without a wall. And also, Lou's got to go back to base.
Yep, and looks like Darkseer is level 10 with only a level 1 wall, so that will go down just after 15 seconds. It's already down, and they can just continue this push. Healing Ward still 30 seconds up.
Well, they might. I don't know if they need the Healing Ward. They do have a bear resummon. I think it's fine to use one now if you need to. The racks or the tier 3 is going to drop. There's no glyph either. It's going down fast. It will be brought down. The familiars and the bear take down that lane. Can they take down the tier 3 racks? That's the question. They can't do it yet. They will be driven back. Now a purge and a vacuum pulls Polison up onto the high ground. He gets stunned. The gem might go down, but remember, there's an Aegis, and now an Omni Slash beautifully placed by Scripted. Catches out too, but this could be an overextension. I think they should just back off and focus on the racks. Icy tries to TP out, doesn't get away. Now the bear continues to work away, so they have been patient with their backline heroes, just focusing on the buildings. That's what really counts. Now the familiar slowing it down to Soul Assumption. Throws Kabu back to the fountain. They take the racks, they take the tier 3, and they will hoof it out of there. First Departure, methodical play, well executed. And even though Rattlesnake had a nice little vacuum there under the high ground, they're just too far behind. They need more than that to make a fight work.
Very smart of them to put the Aegis on the Nyx assassin, because he's the one that's in danger. Lone Druid just sits in the back. He's way too tanky. Again, they don't really have the damage to deal with the lone druid at this point. They can't even kill his bear, let alone the hero. And looking at this tower, he actually swung by mid and got a lot of damage on his T1, and that's actually pretty important. That 500 damage could mean a lot later. So, I mean, they're just well in position to take another T3. They could just do the exact same thing. There's still 3 minutes left on Roshan, or left on Aegis rather, 7 minutes left on Roshan, and I don't see what's really standing in the way between them and this tower. They just constantly 5-man. They have a gem. They won't be caught surprised by smoke or whatever it may be that Rattlesnake can throw at them. I mean, only 1 life left on Polo and Som, but he has a Vit booster right now. He's still pretty difficult to kill.
I like this from Rattlesnake. They're going to smoke up now with 5 heroes and try to take a fight outside of the base because, like you said, once First Departure gets to the base, there's no stopping them. So you got to fight them before they get there. They have a Shadow Blade on Lua as well. He's going to be looking potentially for a quick burst kill. He's only got 1 point.
Yeah, but who do you kill on the side of First Departure?
Yeah, it's true. I still think they have to do this. I mean, you let them get to the base, there's just no way. So, well, it doesn't look like it's
Shadow
going to
Blade
work.
on Alchemist, but I mean, they have a gem. No surprises there.
Yeah, it's nice because you can kind of run in at the last second, charging your unstable concoction. But like you said with the gem, might not do anything. Pulsone gone for the perfect item here, a Vitality Booster just to tank up. He's surging in. I think the creeps might have had a moment of true sight. Here comes Loa from the sidelines. It's a trap, but Scripted is going to be the first one into the fight. First one in, last one out. Well, he's alive for now. Alchemist to drop with the Omni Slash. The bird comes in. Now all of a sudden Lamb force-staffed onto the high ground, which means he's out of the fight. Zag, I'm able to TP back to base, but that's 2 heroes down, and the push comes right now. No wall. There is a vacuum cooling down, but Merlini, this looks like Lane of Rax #2.
Yeah, First Departure is playing very smart, not giving any opportunity for Rattlesnake. They just 5-man, they rotated from mid to bottom as 5. So even if they were smoking, and even if they were able to pick them off outside of the T3, they were just completely prepared for it.
Scripted, chop away at the tower. The healing ward well positioned right next to the lone druid. Hard to click on it when it's there, and more importantly, it's far back. They're working on the second lane of Rex. First Departure just aren't stopping. Prophet is trying to split push, but he's trading a tier 2 for nothing right now. In comes Polisson. He's going to go with Vendetta. Nope, not yet. The split earth was there. It doesn't even matter. 2 heroes backing back in, but there's no wall. The Rax has gone down. This could be the end of game 3 in a matter of seconds. Rattlesnake may fight on. They're not going to want to drop down to that loser's bracket, but they've already lost 2 lanes of Rex. 24 minutes in. Lone Druid takes down another tower mid. He's going for 3 lanes of Rex. Hana is looking to end this game and end it fast. First Departure is just running Rampshon over Rattlesnake. Merlini, they force a 24-minute GG.
Wow.
This was more impressive than game 2. They have played like beasts in this game.
Don't let Syllabear free farm in Eastern Dota. This is what happens. 24-minute GG. Rattlesnake played, I think, pretty well after the first fiasco in the first 6 or 7 minutes of the game.
It was a great performance from First Departure. Let's be honest. They were prepared for what Rattlesnake threw at them. They set the tempo with the early smoke gank at level 1 mid. Then again, a few minutes later, they go top. They do it again. They even, I think maybe a bit luckily, ran into Rattlesnake trying to go for their own first smoke gank. And at every corner, at every step, it just felt like First Departure had a clear game plan and, more importantly, knew what Rattlesnake were going to do. I thought First Departure was the team that was a bit predictable. It felt like Rattlesnake was by game 3.
Maybe the first game was just a red herring. Hey, we're known for running this. We'll just
They hustled them.
I know they hustled them good, and then Rattlesnake got all comfortable, and then they just like completely just threw them for a loop in the second and third game. But yeah, I mean, whether or not it was planned or not, they just reacted very well to their playstyle, and they just had a solution for everything. Everything they threw at them early game, just like, okay, we're gonna counter with smoke ganks. We're gonna kill all your other lanes if you try and do this aggressive try. Syllabear just sitting at this very defensive position too. I mean, Syllabear played pretty nicely, not dying, but really those 2 support roaming just really sealed the deal for First Departure.
I mean, I think it is somewhat like you said. You just don't give away a lone druid healing ward combo unless you have a way to just dominate the lanes. Because if you don't, it's so hard to stop. And what made things worse is they didn't have many ways to actually kill the healing ward. All they had was Prophet Treants, which kind of hard to get those into the fights. Plus, Prophet usually isn't there. He's trying to split push. I felt like Rattlesnake, I wouldn't quite call it a draft order loss, but they had to win the laning stage, and they had to at least break even. They didn't even come close. They had no chance after that.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, if you pick a Chen and you lose early game, you're probably
in a
lose.
lot of trouble.
Or PL, if you lose against an early game PL, you're probably going to lose too. So I think it's kind of like that with their, I mean, but we rarely see Shadow Demon and Leshrac be met with that sort of resistance. And I mean, I wouldn't say that Rattlesnake is predictable. I would just say that First Departure just played very, very well, anticipated very like every move. They had one ward down there, it got sentryed, but again, they just were able to predict where the supports were and just played very safe in each of the 3 lanes. Nixus has not running the sentry wards and not dying because of it. Juggernaut only got picked off on once on top lane, but it took like 5 minutes for 1 kill. Totally worth it for them.
Well, those predictions of Chinese domination off to a slow start here, and it seems Gods was not quite aggressive enough. He did say 2-1, but he didn't call the upset. Rattlesnake, they in the end will be the ones dropping out of the losers bracket. It's going to be First Departure moving on into the winners bracket, which that winners bracket finals played out later today as our 3rd and final best of 3. We've jawed a lot, Merlini. Gods, Luminous, over to you.
Well, they just analyzed the shit out of that game.
Back to you guys. We're
Don't we get a break?
No, like seriously, I went out to get a Coke. Came back, the score is 5-1. I heard Alchemist stun himself, and Goth and I were looking at each other as like, what the hell's going on?
I saw that too. I thought they were making fun of me.
No. Rattlesnake, early game to me, were just walking around like lost puppies. They went with the offensive tri lane. They gave up the early killer mid from the smoke gank, which is okay, fine, that happens. You have the 2 support smoke ganking mid. That's a loss you have to take. It was when the 3 heroes rotated from bottom where, well...
It was 4 heroes.
Yeah, 4 heroes. The 4-man gank, 3 from bottom, the 1 in mid, where stuff went wrong very, very fast.
Yeah, and like game 1, game 2, we saw so much efficient movement from the supports. When they're smoke ganking, they get the kills. When they're tower pushing, they get towers. Or if they're pulling, they get those as well. Unfortunately, nothing actually went right, and it seems like the 4 and 5 player are the gear for Rattlesnake. And
they were so good in game 1. They were dominant in game 1, and it just felt like they kind of fell apart in games 2 and 3.
Doing it for a curveball. Oh my gosh, this Swiss player is amazing, and then they just like, I don't know, stunned.
That was, I mean, that game 2 I felt like was just individual play, but then you look to game 3, and that was just team play, strategy, and anticipation.
Yeah, very nice.
I was way more impressed by game 3, even though game 2 was much flashier for Miracle. I felt like game 3 is the kind of solid game you need to actually beat these top Chinese teams.
Yeah, so it looks like we're already in for exciting qualifiers. Upset in the very first match. I think most people would predict Rattlesnake to go on ahead of First Departure. 2-0
I
most
would
of the
have.
time.
First Departure has taken games off of ARM, Zenith, MUFC in the past. They have not looked strong the past few months.
But yeah, wow, just amazing series though. That's coming back from behind. When you're 1-0, you're like, oh man, you know, you have this desperation mindset, and they just crushed those last 2 games though. Miracle.
Well,
what a player.
Yeah, what a player, and what a way to start this qualifier with one of the, well, the only upset so far, but an upset to start things off. We'll take a quick look at our bracket. Let's see what this means for the rest of things going on here in Group A. We've just seen First Departure cause an upset to start things off. They're now awaiting the winner of LGD China and Dreams Legion Steel Series in the next round. That's going to be our next match coming up shortly in about 15 minutes' time. But until then, I mean, we're going to take a quick break. I think that's going to be it from us. Great analysis, guys. Thanks for the cast. I believe Kevin Purge is going to be casting the next game with Blitz. I'll be joined by AUI 2000 here on the panel. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be back with LGD Gaming up against Dreams.
Dreams 2-0.